Hi guys, how are you? Hope all is well with you. This is Artsy Wisdom. My name is Diane. Thank you for coming by. Thanks, thanks to all of you who put in comments, likes, shares, all that. My last couple videos, um, I did a short one and did my interview with my friend Dennis, the theologian. It was very interesting. It doesn't have that many views, but I didn't think so because it's not necessarily about politics. Although he does talk somewhat about politics towards the end of it. If you guys are interested in that today, uh, last month, I think, or whenever it was, I did a video on sensing something big happening in the not too distant future. And I think the shooting of Charlie Kirk might be it. Uh, and so I got into his energy, and I already sensed he hasn't left yet, but I wanted to know why and and I didn't even know him. I didn't pay attention to his um, podcasts or anything. He's very popular on the right, and he created that big movement, Turning Point. Started when he was 18. Got to give him credit. He's a go-getter. And I looked into Tyler, I think it's Robinson, the one who shot him, and the one they have in custody. I wanted to see what he was thinking, his motives, because I don't think they're talking about that yet, because he doesn't really have a transgender problem or a DEI problem, so they can't blame it on a lefty. He did say, I guess some people in his family said that he was upset with Charlie Kirk because he thought he was hateful. And the other day I thought he might be leaning left, but there's something different, and I'll share that with you. And Charlie's viewpoint is really, really interesting. I also got into Kash Patel's energy because he's in kind of big trouble, or the FBI. There's a lot of pressure on him because he didn't do very good on this situation with Kirk, and then also the Epstein Files. And I believe Patel's going before the congressional hearings on Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe next week. So I wanted to get into his energy and see how that looked. And I'm laughing because of the images I got. I'll let you know what those are. That's it. I think it's a Nicole Hartnett. I think, or is it Fiona? I have a couple viewers from down under, and they had asked me to look at the lunar total eclipse from the 7th last week to see how that would affect that area of the world, because that's where the path was. Antarctica, Australia, most of Asia, I think Eastern Africa, and some of the Middle East. So I'll let you know what I saw with that. All right, let's get started. Okay, Tyler Robinson. I had a really hard time getting into his energy. He's kind of blocked off. He's a young man, 22, but I did. Oh, and I'm also going to pull some cards on here. Today I'm using the Tarot of Mystical Moments by Katrine Weltstein. Really different. I think it's mostly women in this deck, but they have a few men, mostly women. But I have taken my notes. I meditated before. Those of you who have seen me, sometimes I do that. Lately, I've been doing it impromptu, but I decided to go back into the meditative mode to see if I got in deeper, because Charlie, I wanted to make sure I did him justice a little bit, regardless of what you believed. It's not fair for people that have passed on to not respect them. So, Tyler, I feel like he was very far right, like beyond MAGA. I felt like almost a radicalization, like Al Qaeda kind of thing, where those young men in the East or wherever they are, and he was really radicalized in the online dark rooms kind of thing. I know he came from a family that wielded guns, and he actually was taught, I think, I don't know, maybe I'm not an anti-Second Amendment person. I'm not, but there needs to be common sense. It's all off. It's all crazy. And people are getting killed. Little kids are there needs to be something done. Anyway, his family had a lot of guns. He shot him when he was young. So it makes sense that he wouldn't have been able to hit him. But he was like inside this headspace of the MAGA side. Like he almost thought it was divided. Um, and he saw them as having segments. The MAGA group, the Trump promoting Republicans, but he saw that Charlie Kirk's segment. He saw if I took him out, I would take out that whole segment. And I know he mentioned to a family friend or something that he thought he was spewing hate on these college campuses. Just Charlie. Well, I'll go into Charlie Kirk, but the energy that he felt around that was, it was like, this is the natural direction I need to go. I need to finish this thing. I'm seeing it online. I don't think I think he was learning electrical, like going to school for electrical training to be an electrician or something, but that was it. I think he was one of these young men that's kind of lost a little bit. Anyway, but he thought if it's a natural direction, if I take Charlie Kirk out, that'll eliminate this whole problem child section of the Republican Party and the MAGA group. He had a hero mentality. And it reminds me of that kid who shot at, I know some people think it's fake, that shot at, in Pennsylvania, that shot at Trump. And I don't think they got Trump's ear. I think what got him was a fracturing of something around. I don't think they shot his ear. I think it would have blown off the edge of it. I think it was something that flew and got him. Anyway. And I feel like he was brainwashed, Tyler. I'm going back to Tyler. And I said, like Al Qaeda, he wanted to cut out that group from the party or from MAGA. He grew up in a very Republican, church-going Mormon, Utah family, white young man, typical person who does this kind of stuff. And it's like he felt like things were shifting. He also saw Kirk was working too hard to make money. He saw it as being abused or perverted. That part of the party, not the motives were skewed, and he felt like it was wrong. He feel like they were solve the segment of problems. He still feels very defiant right now. He's not backing down at all. He says, um, it's not me. It's not me. He's like, I don't think I need to apologize, basically. Um, he needed to get rid of the leader. And he's not, like when I try to get his energy, he's very blocked off, but I am seeing if I go into his perspective, and he feels very defiant. He feels like he's trying to solve a problem, obviously, but it's brainwashy, perverted thinking, right? He says they're lying, Kirk and Trump. He's seeing that there's a whole segment of the party that's lying. Not for the things that you and I might think they're lying about, but he sees that maybe it has to do with the Epstein Files. Oh, which, by the way, I look into Kash Patel about that too, and tell you what he says about that. And he's saying it's all more show. He's seeing it as a showtime thing and a politics, not about free speech. He didn't think that was the goal. Maybe it used to be, but he saw him as changing the direction, and it's wrong. And the Christian angle, because Kirk was super biblical, Christian, quote unquote, which I don't think so, but that's what he said. He's gone too far, and he did feel like it's just wrong. So I think he wanted to cut out a section, and he wanted to say, let's, and I don't know if he blames Trump. He does feel like it's political. And there's a lot of talking and a lot of money. But his brain is not right. He's confused. He's brainwashed, basically. His brain isn't right. So it's how he thought. And he lived online. So, okay. This is a weird image. So I already felt like he hadn't left. Now I'm going to tell you about Charlie Kirk. I already felt like he hadn't left. He is still here. And a lot of times when that happens, when I see souls that don't move on, it's because they're sticking around for a solution to a problem. They wanted people to know something. They want to, the ending, maybe they were taken out young or something, and they want people to understand how or why. Like Tupac, he's still hanging around for whatever. I mean, he's kind of in and out, but things are changing with him. Anyway, he's been here. Charlie's been here. And I thought, oh, he's around his family, his young wife and young children, which is all sad, regardless of his viewpoints, is sad. Those kids don't have their dad. But I saw him. I'm on this path and I'm walking and it's green on the edges, but the path is dirt. And then I find myself going down, down and down into the ground, into a cave-like area. It's kind of like, I want to say Middle Earth, or an area where Earth energies speak to you. I think it's shamanistic kind of vibe. Anyway, there's openings or doors. It's like a big open space. But right to my left, I'm directed to go left. And he's there. He's right to the left. And I'm seeing him, and he's at a table sitting in front of him. And, when I do this, it's like a person's personality, their ego sometimes is still confused once they haven't transcended to the other side and talk to the council of light and their spirit guides and that sort of thing. He is in this weird in-between place. His ego isn't there necessarily, but he's really confused. I see him, and there's a table, and it's what I think of as the Bible. I think it's the Bible. It's a book, or there's papers. And he's very confused. He is flipping through this book. And I also see his spirit beings, his spirit guides near him, helping him sort through this. And because it was so sudden, a lot of times when accidents happen, people don't even know they're gone. And they have to reconcile that. He is reconciling something different. He is not reconciling his death. He is reconciling his viewpoints. He is looking through, he's like flash flipping through the Bible. And I see him trying to understand what's going on, because he already senses God's pure love. God is a neutral. It is pure love. It is the energy that we all return to. If you want to quote unquote heaven, it's the being that we're all fractions of, right? And he has a sense of that knowing, that pure love that he always talked about, with God. But that God, that neutral, is all pure love, right? And his opinions that he was spouting about race differences and LGBTQ, and women should stay at home and have babies, and they shouldn't have, go out, and they should listen to their husbands, and a lot more than that. A lot of really negative, dark things that I think. But he was using this Bible or the Christian viewpoint, right? And he's flipping through there, trying to reconcile all the things that he said with this new understanding, or he's being confronted now with this pure love that makes no sense. And in this world, he was, as a human, he was going, well, this is my belief, and I believe I'm trying to stay on the high level and be as Christian as possible. And he did say good things about forgiveness, and he didn't think people should be violent in any way. So he did do that, but he's still trying to reconcile. So he's really confused, and he's sitting there. And let me look at my notes. He's not moving. He's not moving out of this room cave thing until he absorbs and he reconciles, until he understands. It is a healing, but it's also about a learning and education. When we go on the other side, we get educated about what we could have done better, our soul could have learned, choices we made, karma, karma, did we do the right things when we could? Did we evolve a little bit? Were we loving? Did mistakes and that kind of stuff. And he's in that area, but in this area where I'm seeing him, he's in that ballpark of learning that, but it's about his beliefs. He's being confronted about his beliefs that he spouted, confronted people, yelled about, debated about in this life, right? And he's thinking, and it's more about himself. I thought, oh, he's with his kids and his, no, it's more about himself right now. He is looking at that, and he will get through it, but it's new, right? He's new. It's new. He's stuck right now until he reconciles that. He did not expect to go. And I also saw this giant red arrow. It's like a spear coming down, not at him, but something near him. And I haven't quite figured out what that is. It's not like Satan or anything, but there's a big arrow. You know what? It reminds me of Sagittarius. The the arrow of Sagittarius, the symbol. I don't think he was a Sag. I think he was a Libra, which is not, that's the scales. But there is something with this red arrow, which is possibly coming from above, coming from God, with his spirit guides near him. It's like this information, this really intense information that he's having to deal with, and he doesn't get it yet, but he will. He did talk about free speech. He was trying to bring free speech to campuses because he felt they were all leaning left and they were getting canceled. So he just took it upon his badge of honor, or his, wheeled that flag and said, no, we're conservatives. I'm going to go to college campuses and yell about conservatism. So in that regard, free speech, love it. Let's do that. But it's very aggressive. And I think the politics, my sense is that there's a layer, and I know he wanted that, but there's a layer that I think down deep, he ignored some thoughts that he had over the years that maybe would question what he's doing, but he's in a lane, and he's very intent. Now, when I get into his soul contract, he was meant to be an extreme person, but this extremity or this extremeness could have manifested in any kind of extreme thing, which affected a lot of people, that he brought attention to himself, that he needed to speak it out loud. And it could be in a religious belief, it could be political, it could have been anything that was very intense and very one-sided, or very, magnet to lots of people disagreeing with him. So that was on his soul contract, and he knew that. And that's what he did coming into this existence. Like I said, it could be any extreme beliefs. And in the politics that he's encountered and he's been living with, and God don't match. And then politics is a human thing, right? Although you can bring love and light and the pure love of God into politics, but they have a hard time, right? And this is what he's dealing with right now. I felt like his soul is young. He's got a young soul. It's evolving, but it's not one of these people who is at the end of their soul contracts, at the end of their existence, where they feel like they don't have to come back anymore. They've been incarnated many thousands of times. I feel like he's been here before, of course, but I feel like he's young in his incarnation. Like it's a big learning curve this time around. And so he's confused. And that's what I said. He's still processing. And time means nothing up there. For us, time is one thing, but up there, it could be 100 years kind of thing. I don't feel like it'll be that long. But the thing is, for him, I'm asking him, and I asked him if once he understands this, that the choices he made were not about pure love and the Christ light and the Christ consciousness. They were more about the human ego and being right. So I'm asking him, once he accepts what he learned was, and that the light of God, I'm asking him to send that light to others to heal all of us and to challenge those egoic minds or challenge those political minds that he knows that he's close with. He's close with Donald Trump or Donald Trump Jr. and Vance and all that. So I'm asking him, as on that side, to send down the love and healing light to these people that he can influence if possible. Now he can do that. That's going to be his strength. And I feel like he's pretty energetic, even though I can still see him flipping through the Bible. He's not there yet, but I sense that he could do that for us. So if you feel like it, ask Charlie on the other side. Learn his lessons and send that love of God and all the ancestors and healing light to all the people who are making decisions that he knows and doesn't know, and help us heal and move forward. Okay. And quickly, Kash Patel and his big buggy eyes, Kash Patel. I feel like I got into his energy and he's messy. He's normally really hyper and messy in his energy and his head, like he's bouncing like a bouncy ball, but not at the moment. Right now, I saw him literally crawling to suck up to Trump, crawling on the ground, belly crawl. And then and then when I'm imagining the FBI, because it's a shit show there, guys. And he's just getting rid of people, and there's not organized. He doesn't have the leadership experience or knowledge or the base, and he's getting rid of people just because Trump says so. And he, claimed they got the suspect when they didn't. He just is immature. So what I saw him stuck in porridge. I saw him in a big bowl of porridge, and he's up to his waist. And you can imagine, like oatmeal or porridge, it's very thick. And as it cools, it gets thicker and stickier. And I see him stuck, and that's with the FBI, and that's with the energy of that whole situation, but also with Charlie Kirk, but also his job and what he's doing there and the whole organization. And I know there's a lot of people that are suing him for wrongful dismissal and that sort of thing. I feel like he's drowning. He's drowning, and he can't pull himself out of this. He's very heavy, and he feels like he's sinking. And remember back in the days, it seemed like every cartoon had quicksand on it. What happened to those cartoons? And where's this quicksand? Nobody has quicksand anymore. I know it's somewhere, but anyway, he's already halfway down. And he's sinking because he's not smart enough to pull himself out. He doesn't have the ability. He doesn't even know what direction to go because he can't, if you grab on, there's nothing to grab. And he's, and at the hearing, so they're having that hearing on Tuesday and Wednesday, I think. And they're going to confront him with this Charlie Kirk news and the poor response, even though everything was great. And did you see him at the announcement, that press conference where he just attaboys, slap on the backs, look how great we did. Thank you, Mr. Trump, for our leadership. It wasn't for you. We wouldn't be able to do this. This is what happens when police get all the help they need and when you let them do their job. But it's not about anything about Tyler Robinson or anything about motive, just about them. Not narcissistic, is it at all? Anyway, he's sitting at the hearing, and I feel like there'll be senators or congressmen, because I think it's Congress. I don't think it's Senate. No, Congress. They're going to be, I feel like a couple are going to be pulling him out, and I can see him getting lifted out of this giant bowl of porridge. So they will give him a hands up or hands out or whatever the phrase is. I can't think of it. Um, helped him out. But that's in regards to the FBI, because they'll all talk about all the great things he's done or what they're doing, and it'll be great. And then, but Democrats won't. But when I saw him, and I'm thinking about or getting into the energy of the Epstein Files, because that's most certainly is going to be coming up. That will definitely be coming up. He's back in it. He is back in the porridge. And those people that gave him a hand up or out are not doing that for the Epstein Files. They're going to be pushing him back into that porridge. And then I saw him sitting on the edge of the bowl with his legs covered in porridge, dripping, sitting with his legs hanging, and it's dripping onto the floor. It's like a sense of lack of humility, self-consciousness. And it's like, I'll do whatever you say. Look how great I am. And he doesn't even understand how he looks, kind of thing. He's going to be carrying that porridge with him. Even if he's not in that bowl, I feel like the porridge is going to go with him and it's going to be attached. That's the feeling I get. And he doesn't even understand. I also wrote this. I feel like I wrote, they're going to kill him. They're going to annihilate his answers, all of them. There might be a few softball throws at him, but most of the hearing will be taking him down and smashing him. I feel like they're going to smash him around. He's going to hang on the edge of the bowl and sit there with his legs hanging, dripping in the porridge. But this whole Epstein file thing, the energy of it is, I'm going to pull a card, not just about him. Well, maybe him first. This whole Epstein Files thing. Our Republican compadres, they will not let this go. Six of Wands. So that's a success. That is Three of Pentacles. And then the High Priestess, and that's secrets. So there's going to be actually some benefits. There's going to be something that we're going to find out maybe about it and get some sort of understanding. This Six of Wands is a little bit different. Oh, it's hummingbird feeding. And then the Three of Pentacles is getting a commission, working together, a job, and then the High Priestess. So we're going to get some information, but you know what I think it is? It's like a bait and switch. It's like they're going to give him a little nugget of information, or he is, and he's going to be really honest and say, we've got this and this and this, and we've given everything to everybody, and we're just waiting on the courts, but there's a lot of things that will not be given. But I do feel like he's going to be smashed around flopped around like a rag doll. Page of Swords. Yeah. They're going to bring all kinds of details to him, all kinds of facts that he can't respond to with his big buggy eyes. Okay. Oh, hopefully they'll get somebody with knowledge and education in that position. Trump will stick by him for now. Yeah, he's going to stick by him for now. And yeah, I got the Ace of Pentacles, which is about the beginning of making some money, or the beginning of something tangible. Values, securities. Oh, you know what? I have a sense that it's something new announcements going to come out. And maybe that's this thing where we're going to find, like, we're going to say, oh, we're going to have this and we're going to give you it. But I don't know if it's going to come of anything. But I do think he's going to stick. I think Trump is going to, for now. Who knows though, but I think for now. And finally, real quick, the total lunar eclipse that its path went over most of Asia, parts of Russia, Middle East, Antarctica, Australia. My first image was the Magician. Now, the Magician card is somebody having all the tools they need. It's the Magi, it's an astrologer, it's the writer, it's the alchemist, somebody who has all the ability to make everything they need. They have all the tools and they're in control. So that was the first image I got. So, and that's a positive card for me. it feels positive. It could be symbol of people taking things into their own hands. And I was reminded of those protests in Nepal last week, the Gen Z protests where a bunch of people were killed. Eclipses, lunar eclipses eclipse out things. They change things from sometimes one cycle. They end things. Um, a lot of times people or places are sensitive to eclipses depending on their birth chart or birth information for the energy of that area. But it's a shift. It's a big shift. And I think it was Nicole who asked me, or Fiona asked me about the 6 months ahead. Now, I do feel the next image I got was a lot of lapping water between South Asia and Australia in that space there. A lot of lapping water. And the only thing that would make it lap like that, I think, would be earthquakes. And that whole area, I see a lot of waves happening. I don't necessarily see a tsunami on Australia, but there's a lot of moving water in between South Asia and Australia. That's the feeling I have. The moon was in Pisces, and that has to do with water. And the sun was in Virgo, which is earth. So I do feel like it's possibility. I'm not 100% sure, but that's the feeling I got, was a lot of moving water. And I don't think maybe it won't be as bad as the one was it 2011, the one in Indonesia, but that was a tsunami. But I do feel like there's going to be a correction in the tectonic plates somewhere there. It could also lead to, I see oil leaking somewhere, or something coming out from under the earth, like through the water. But oil would only leak off tankers. I don't think it would leak off just out of the ocean. But I also see possible not a lot. I don't feel like volcanic activity, but not down there. Somewhere, Russia, up north, Russia, somewhere up there. But it's not as bad as it was in the past where I had that image of it. So the water, the Neptunian energy, that's also very feeling. And so that whole area is going to it's going to be awash with this emotional energy of eclipsing out things. We're tired of this. We want this to end, for good or for bad. Israel and Gaza's in that area. So I do feel like Israel's going to be more determined to end this situation. And I know they're wanting to take over Gaza City, I believe. I always saw Netanyahu having a direct line to the sea right there, and he wants a whole section. He would like to take it all, but right now I don't think so. But it's that whole thing. I think there's going to be a big push to end, quote, and end it and be done with that conflict. But Israel wants to have a lot to do that. It could be the hostages, bodies or whatever are returned to. That could be really a possibility within the next 6 months. Oh yeah, maybe there'd be drilling leaks or something I don't know if there's drilling out there. Maybe that's the oil thing I'm thinking of. I see uprisings in Asia more and endings in the Middle East. Gaza, Israel, I saw that, end of cycle. And Australia, I didn't see as like, in the past I've saw all these dots all over it, and the lady with her dress, and there's all the dots, which I have come to interpret it as mining. I don't feel like it's going to increase. I feel like it's just going to maintain or even lessen. And China is really determined to, I don't know what China's sign is, but I feel like it's very earthy because they're very just stable and steadfast. They're going to really make shifts in certain areas to end their connection with something. Maybe, I know they're meeting somewhere this week with the states and tariffs. I think I could be wrong, or India and the oil and all that. There is a bunch of different, I've seen like 3 or 4 with China, different segments of their economy that they want to settle and move forward because this has been in flux. And I feel like it could get more in flux before it settles down. And that's the feeling I get because and China, I know, has got a lot of investments in Australia. So I feel like that, I don't feel like a massive change there. I just feel like it's going to maintain. It's going to keep going the way it's been going. It could recede even, which I don't know why it would, unless they changing who they trade with and somehow it changes that. But anyway, but I do feel like China increases pressure in a lot of different places to finish it off. Let's get this done and move forward, and this and that, and they won't back down, of course, but there'll be pressure. Pressure. Anyway, I hope that helps answers your question. I am going to hopefully get another video in today. The Bears game was on, so I might go down there and watch that. More than likely, they'll lose because it's always a cross to bear if you're a Chicago Bear fan. Don't know how I would get through it. And finally, my goal on this channel is to bring calm to the chaos. And I know that people don't always agree with me, but we're all here to help each other and love each other. That's my goal. So hopefully you find something of value. And if you do, I'd love it if you subscribed or shared. And I thank you all. Thank you for keep coming back. I thank you for all my subscribers and new viewers and people that have stopped by. Okay, you guys, till next time, take care.